Okay, I'm gonna be playing some Minecraft and ranting about nostalgia, right? Because people are so fucking blinded by nostalgia. Like, I don't know how big this is. I could be, like, overstating it. Like, right, I can understand I might be misconceiving it, but I feel like everybody just hates new shit. Like, it's always season 1 of a show was way better because it just was. Or it's always the beginning of a game, or the game several years ago was better. This movie franchise used to be better, now it sucks. Right, you can critique changes that are bad to things, right? Like, for example, Minecraft's a great example. When you're making a new world, that menu is fucking asinine. But I still understand why they would make that menu and why someone would like it. There's positives and negatives, obviously. But I feel like people just blindly saying that new shit sucks and, like, old shit was always so much better. It's just fucking stupid. It's like a waste of time. Like, what do you even want? I'll use an example. Fortnite. Prime Fortnite was better. Did Fortnite make many bad updates? Yes. Did they make good updates? Also, yes. Are there criticisms you could make against old Fortnite and new Fortnite? Yes and yes. Fucking obviously. Nothing's perfect. The game wasn't perfect then. Certainly not perfect now. They've done some dumb shit. But you can also understand where they're coming from. Like the larger item shop, well, yes, it's kind of fucking annoying. At the same time, you can understand why they would want to, sell more stuff just to have a larger selection of items. Also allowing to sell specific packs for longer periods of time. Right? You may disagree with it and just think it's greed. Right? I think it's pretty fucking greedy to have a 14-page item shop. But at the same time, you can't just say it sucks because I don't like it. Right? Like, obviously, like, I'm not a huge fan of the big item shop. But there are pros and there are cons, right? Like, it's a bigger selection, but it's, like, kind of in your face, right? But, like, people always do this thing. Like, everybody's blinded by nostalgia. Like, do you really think your childhood was, like, a million times better? Like, people even say, like, 1, 2, even maybe, like, 3, 2. Sometimes even 1 year ago was, like, so much better than now, and everything sucks now. Like, guess what? You probably thought everything sucked then, and then the years before were better. Duh, you just look at the past of rose-tinted glasses, and people just don't realize it, or they don't care that they're obviously blinded by nostalgia, and they just go with it and say the past was so much better. Like, obviously, there's things better about the past than now, and there's things better about now than the past, right? That's just how shit works. There's pros and cons to literally everything. But to just say that insert year here, or certain specific time of certain year here was better than current year, it's just fucking stupid. Like, people just despise the present and live in the past all the fucking time, and it's like, for what? I miss the good old days. I miss the good old days of 3 years ago. Like, the fuck? Like, there was still, like, bad things in your life. Like, do you really think you were happy every single day as a child? You would get in trouble and be sad and shit, right? That shit happens. Right? People almost dumb themselves down when they're thinking back to their childhood because they just assume every day was some fucking go-lucky, goofy shit with a big grin on their face. No, children cry, children get upset. It's not like life was literally perfect. Was it simpler? Yes. But you were also just less mature. Like, was life really that much simpler, or were you just a child living like a child, and that's why it felt simpler? Right? Like, did I enjoy being a kid more than now? I can't really tell. Right? Because, I mean, yes, there's a lot of great things about being a kid, and yes, I would be down to go be a little kid right now. not have to have any responsibilities or anything. That doesn't mean my childhood was fucking shiny perfect and every day was like a big shining smile and a glowing rainbow. That just means that life was different. Was it easier? Maybe from now's perspective, or not only am I looking at the past, which is an inaccurate representation, the memory isn't perfect, but also, it just seems like being a child was just easier. So of course now me would say, yeah, it was better. But, there's pros and cons to everything, and people are just like, oh, I miss the good old days, I miss the beginning of this and that. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you think everything was just perfect a couple years ago and now everything just sucks? Like, you gotta get out of the fucking past and start looking ahead. Like, obviously, you like the past more because you're looking back on positive memories. Of course. Like, unless you had the literal perfect life and nothing bad ever happened to you until now, which I guess good for you, but in most cases it isn't like that. It's just you misremembering and, like, idolizing your childhood almost. Like, being a kid is great. Being young is great. Being a child is great. Life is easier. That doesn't mean life was, like, perfect. It just means that, at least looking back now, it was great. And you, like, underappreciate it. Like, people think that they, like some people, like, say that, like, I had no idea how good my childhood was. No, you were just a different fucking person as a childhood that had, like, your own issues at the time, and now you have new issues. You don't remember those old issues because it was a long time ago. And now all you think about is these perfect idealist memories where everything was just perfect every single day. You'd wake up with a shining smile on your face every single second of the day. That's how I remember my childhood. I remember my childhood being great. But was child me really fucking waking up every day with a smile, never feeling anything but happy? No. Nobody's like that. Unless you're, like, emotionally disabled or some shit. But, like, I don't think there's a disability that makes you just endlessly joyful, right? Bad shit happens, good shit happens, you have happy moments, sad moments. That's just life. It's just complex. Obviously, your childhood is objectively simpler since your life is just go to school, get home, play with toys or some shit, right? That doesn't mean that your life was fucking perfect and that you need to go back. Like, obviously, some people like looking back, but, like, I feel like the people who say that they would really rather just be a kid forever, it's just, like, a stupid thing to say, right? Like, I understand where they're coming from of, like, childhood is great, but also it's just, like, fucking, what? Like, just grow up, live in the future, have a good mindset and shit. Right? And also, another thing about this shit is that it's just a bad mindset to have, to just think that everything sucks now and that back then was great. Right? Like, you can look back on happy memories and enjoy them. I'm not saying don't enjoy happy memories just because it wasn't perfect. No, I'm just saying that, like, people living in the past and saying that life back then was so great and being, like, overly nostalgic and very biased is just, like, dumb. Right? This is a nice microphone. This has flowers and shit. That's pretty chill. Right? That's not even, like... And people will just get upset at me, like, oh, well, season 1 of this show was better than season 10 of this show, or, yada, yada, yada. 5 years ago, this thing was so awesome, and now it sucks. Like, no, maybe you just enjoyed it a lot back then and you just aren't interested in it now. That's another thing with people with games and shit and shows. It's just like you just have different tastes now and you've grown as a person. And when you watch the old episodes, you just fucking reminisce about watching them at the beginning, right? And, like, it's just like a memory for you and not really like experiencing new media objectively. Right? It's not that it got worse, it's just that you are a changed person. Right? Like, nobody just stays the same for 50 years, or 10 years, or even 5 years. Every year you're a new person. Like, honestly, I'd probably fucking hate myself 3 years ago. Like, if I had to meet, like, a 3-year younger version of me, I'd probably hate that kid. Right? Because we're, like, very different. Not only in maturity, but also personality. Right? That's just how it is. Right? It's not just, like, things have gotten worse. It's just, like, your taste has changed. Now you're into different things, right? People's interests change all the fucking time. Right? Is this rant going on and on? Yes, but I don't really know. I want to edit. Because I'm not, like, anywhere in Minecraft. I'm just, like, walking around, cutting down trees. Except this one beehive tree, I didn't fully cut it down because I felt bad for the bees. Can I make that jump? No. No, it's because I was watching this video. It's like 5 hours long. I was just jumping around. It's like a review of, like, Family Guy. Right? Like, when I watch the new episodes of Family Guy, they are enjoyable in their own ways. And so are the early seasons, right? But, like, this guy was just, like, super fucking biased. Because I guess he was, like, a Family Guy OG or some shit. Like, that shit's so goofy. And every time he would review a new episode, he'd just be like, it was boring, I didn't really like it. Fuck, I just died. Just got raped. And they'd just be like, oh, well, you know, it's boring, I didn't really like it that much. It was very boring. And then they look back at the old episodes and be like, wow, it was so great, his character was so great in the early seasons, yada, yada, yada. It's like, shut the fuck up. Right? It's not boring and bland and ass. Yeah, the writers can be lazy. Yeah, the writers aren't perfect. But they weren't perfect then either. Like, just being biased for the past doesn't mean that everything sucks now and was better then. It just means that you're blinded by the fucking rose-tinted glasses of the past. And while simultaneously having different tastes and interests now compared to then. Right? Was Family Guy different in season 1 compared to now? Yes. Duh. Does it suck now? You can't just say something sucks just because you don't like it, or you find it bland and boring. Like, just because you're not interested in the new stuff doesn't mean you just have to tear it apart for literally anything and just nitpick and complain. Say, oh, well, it's not like the good old days. Season 1 was better. Like, people say that about every fucking show. They say that season 1 is the fucking best or some shit, or season 1, 2, in the early seasons were so much better, in the late seasons everything fell apart and sucked. Like, no, you think, like a lot of, like, there are examples of shows getting worse over time for specific reasons, at least on, like, a reviewer-based level, but, like, that doesn't mean that every single show just needs to be like, oh, season 1 was the best, and I don't know, I don't really like their new stuff. Like, duh, because you liked the show then, and now you're not interested in it. Right? That doesn't mean that it's gotten objectively worse. That just means that, or at least in any way worse, it just means that you just aren't as interested in the show, at least in the way it's changed, or just the show in general now. Right? There's nothing to fucking do with just everything getting worse as time goes on. Right? Like, it's okay to be nostalgic and look back on the past with a positive view, as opposed to just being like, well, yeah, those are happy memories, but, you know, life wasn't perfect. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, you can be nostalgic. I'm nostalgic about shit all the fucking time. Right? But it's like, there's like a certain level of nostalgia where you just start treating, like, the past as this, like, perfect idealist society where everything was just so much better and now everything's gone downhill or some shit and it all sucks. It's just, like, fucking stupid. It's fucking idiotic. Right? Is this an L take? I It's just a random rant. I might upload it. I'm pretty fucking lazy and probably won't. But I might. I'm considering it. I don't know if I actually will, though. Or where I'll upload it. But anyway. That's been this unedited rant. This video is going to get 0 views. But if it somehow actually gets a couple views, and maybe even 1 comment is left on it, which I don't know what the fuck is with YouTube. I feel like every other platform, it's so fucking easy to get popular, but on YouTube, it's like 0 views for fucking life, unless you get lucky and blow up. Like, it's so fucking divided on YouTube. There's no there's no medium creators, right? There's these small creators of a few thousand subs. They're like nowhere even near 100K, and then there's YouTubers of millions of subs. And if they are in like the middle of that, and that's just because they're rapidly growing, because usually like once you start getting big on YouTube, it just like blows out of proportion and you get more and more subs, get more and more popular, more and more views and such. Unless you fall off or your content sucks, you stop uploading. But even still, even if you do stop uploading, let's say Fearless, for example, his newer videos were fucking popping off more than ever before, even though he stopped uploading, simply because he was a popular creator. Right? Like, there is no middle ground. It's always like the middle ground is just transitioning to being a super popular creator. Like, there's small creators, rapidly growing creators, and big creators. Right? And it's like, why? Why can't you just have, like, you know, like a certain, like, obviously they probably exist. There's probably an example or two of a creator you can, like, name that, like, never, like, that was just, like, on a level of popularity that isn't small but also isn't large. But those are, like, few and far between examples. There aren't, like, a whole lot of them. You know, there are a whole lot of super small YouTube channels with, like, less than 1,000, maybe even less than 100, right? And then there's also a lot of channels with millions of subs or hundreds of thousands of subs. It's like, I don't get that. Right, there's probably, like, a reasonable explanation. I don't really know the inner workings of the YouTube algorithm, right? And I'm not saying YouTube is, like, evil and just keeps the small creators small, doesn't allow them to get big. Like, no, small creators blow up all the fucking time. Where do you think Mr. Beast started? You think he just started big? No, obviously a channel gets big over time, I understand that. I just, you know, don't really get, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm below a small channel. I have 0 views. I literally get no views. At all. Anyway, make sure to smash that subscribe button, sexually assault the like button, and make sure to leave a very positive comment. Don't say anything mean, because I can't handle criticism. No, say mean shit. You could probably be right. Like this rant was like pretty on and on. Not very structured. Kind of repeated myself a bit. Like, there probably is a valid criticism you could throw at me. Don't just comment, I'm a faggot. Like, I won't delete your comment. I'm not going to filter my comments. I'm not a pussy. I'll gladly let you call me a faggot in the comment section. All you want. But, like, for what? It's just, like, a stupid waste of time. But, you know, that's it. You know, watch my other videos or something. I guess. Probably not.